The backyard looked cheerful in the way small family parties usually do. Balloons tied to the fence moved lazily in the breeze. Someone had set up a folding table for the cake, covered in a plastic cloth that kept sliding slightly whenever a child leaned on it. My daughter stayed close to that table most of the afternoon, not in an obvious way. She was trying to be part of the group of kids running between the swing set and the lawn chairs, but every few minutes she drifted back near the cake like it was an anchor point. She was turning 7, and birthdays still meant something simple to her. Friends, cake, the feeling that the day belonged to you. My mother-in-law watched the party from the patio with the same quiet evaluation she brought to most family events. She believed in discipline the way some people believe in weather: constant, unavoidable, and necessary. Over the years, I'd learned not to challenge her in front of others, not because she was right, but because confrontation with her always turned into a longer, colder war. So I focused on the children, refilling juice cups, straightening paper plates, pretending the afternoon was as relaxed as it looked. When it was time for the cake, everyone gathered around the table. Phones appeared. Kids pressed closer together. My daughter stood right in the middle, trying to look brave and excited at the same time. We sang. She blew out the candles with a single long breath. Applause scattered across the yard. I started cutting the cake. Large slices went onto paper plates and into small, waiting hands. One by one, the kids took their pieces and ran off toward the grass. I was reaching for another plate when my mother-in-law stepped forward. She placed something on the table in front of my daughter. Not a slice of cake, a tiny cupcake. It sat there alone on a plate that suddenly looked much too large for it. At first I thought maybe it was meant for later, but she slid it directly toward my daughter. Some kids, she said calmly, need to earn their treats. The words landed like a stone dropped into still water. No one laughed. No one asked what she meant. My daughter looked down at the plate. Her shoulders dipped slightly, the way they do when a child is trying to make themselves smaller without realizing it. Around us, adults suddenly found other things to look at. A balloon, their phone screens, the cooler near the fence. I felt heat move up the back of my neck. I wanted to say something immediately, something sharp enough to stop it. But another part of me saw my daughter standing there in front of everyone. If I turned the moment into a fight, the spotlight would only grow brighter. So I hesitated, and the silence stretched. At the edge of the yard, my husband's grandmother had been sitting in a wooden chair near the garden beds. She'd spent most of the afternoon quietly watching the children run around, occasionally smiling when one of them waved at her. She was 92. Standing wasn't something she did quickly anymore, but she stood. The motion alone pulled people's attention. She walked slowly across the grass toward the table. No rush, no drama. Just steady steps that seemed to gather the room's focus with each one. When she reached us, she looked down at the plate. First the cupcake, then the large cake behind it, then my mother-in-law. Her voice, when she spoke, was soft but clear enough that everyone nearby heard it. A birthday, she said, is not a test. No one moved. She looked at my daughter, then her expression warming. A child shouldn't have to earn kindness at her own party. The words didn't come with anger. That somehow made them heavier. My mother-in-law opened her mouth slightly, but nothing came out. Grandmother reached down and picked up the tiny cupcake. She set it aside. Then she took the knife from the table and cut a slice of cake herself. Not a small one either. A full piece from the center. She placed it on a clean plate and slid it gently toward my daughter. There we are, she said. My daughter looked up slowly, as if she wasn't sure she was allowed to smile yet. Grandmother picked up the cupcake again and turned toward my mother-in-law. Without a trace of sarcasm, she handed it to her. If anyone needs a smaller portion, she said quietly, it might be us. No one laughed. No one clapped. The entire yard had gone still. My mother-in-law accepted the plate without saying a word. Grandmother gave my daughter's shoulder a brief, gentle squeeze, then turned and walked back to her chair near the garden. Just like that. The party resumed, though the energy felt different now. Conversations restarted carefully. Children ran again across the grass. My daughter took a bite of her cake a few minutes later. A small one, but she was standing straighter. She joined the other kids again, holding her plate proudly like the rest of them. Across the yard, Grandmother sat back down and folded her hands in her lap. She didn't look toward the table again. She didn't need to. No one mentioned the moment for the rest of the afternoon. But everyone had heard it.